Academia Plus Ultra. Manga, anime, news and more. Plus Ultra.
Hello and welcome to episode 16 of the My Hero Macadamia podcast. I stole that joke from the One Piece podcast, so please don't sue me. Ash, do you remember who made that joke?
I don't. I think it was maybe the dude, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
So I think I might have stolen it from Alex on the One Piece podcast. You could follow him at dude! He is much, much funnier than I am. I think it was him. If it wasn't him, tweet at me. It might have been Joey Weiser. Or it was Steve Yurko. I'm not sure which one. I'm sorry. It's a good joke. And today we have on special guest Ash. Say hello.
Hey. Hey everyone. It's good to be back for another episode.
Woo. And Sophie's busy today. She's got life's happening. And today we'll be covering episode 63 and chapter 200. Get hype. We'll jump right into the news segment.
This is My Hero Academia.
As you've probably seen, the My Hero Academia 2 Heroes movie is out, so October 2nd is going to be the last day. And it's already broken some almost broken some records. It's the third highest gross filming licensed by Funimation, and it's earned an impressive $2.57 million at domestic box offices since the screening began on September 25th, which is really impressive.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I remember when we went for One Piece Film Gold when it came out to theaters here, I think there was only like one or two showings that actually happened, and there was barely anyone in the theaters.
Yeah.
And My Hero Academia just seems to be like selling out everywhere. They've had to add extra screenings and everything, so it seems to be really ramping up in popularity quite quickly.
Yeah, so I'm hoping maybe the next One Piece movie there'll be a lot more showings.
I'm hoping so.
There were 2 showings and I went to both of them. I know, Ash, you're gonna see it tonight. Are you seeing it dubbed or subbed?
No, sub. They only had one dubbed showing this Saturday, and I got there about an hour early because I thought, okay, there's no way it'll be sold out. I should be fine, getting there an hour so early. Nope, get there, it's completely sold out, and I was just like, oh man, alright.
I bought mine online the day it was announced. I was like, I need these because I've seen it dubbed already, and I'm going to see it subbed tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
I'm excited. And in case people are curious, the top 3 for best-selling and Funimation licensed movies were Dragon Ball Z and Your Name. I'm surprised Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F took down Your Name.
Yeah, no, that's kind of surprising. I thought it'd be a little bit more niche than that, but I guess anime fans went out in droves to see that.
F just makes me think of press F for respects, but I don't think that's what it is. I don't Dragon Ball enough to know this.
Yeah.
What else is my news? Oh, there's a really cool Asui statue that came out. It's by Takara Tomy and Belfine. It's around $120 around that. So it's expensive, but it actually looks really nice.
Yeah, no, it's a really gorgeous statue. If I had the money, I probably would try and splurge on it, but
Same.
Unfortunately, being an anime weeb is an expensive hobby.
Yeah, I pick and choose, and I'm like, if it's over $100, I'm like, do I need this? I also don't have room for it.
Yeah.
I had to forcefully, my friend had to walk me away from a chopper statue that was worth $100, and I was like, we need to leave immediately. And they took Visa, and I was like, oh no, I will buy this.
Yeah.
NYC New York Comic Con going on right now. There's a Viz Media panel October 4th, 12:15 to 1:30. There's a Shonen Jump panel October 6th, and there's a Fun and Games Shonen Jump panel on October 6th as well. So if you go to that, they're giving out free posters for My Hero Academia. And also, and I think we mentioned it before, there's the All Might Rising manga. They can get digitally online. You just have to have a Viz account, which is free to get. Have you read the All Might Rising one yet, Ash?
No, I have. I downloaded it onto my Viz account, and I keep meaning to get to it, and I'll probably try to read it today before I go see the movie, but I haven't read it just yet.
It's pretty good. It's not groundbreaking or anything, but
yeah,
it's still really good. And I think that's it for the news. Do you have any tidbits you saw along the week?
No, I think the only thing is where I am right now, I think the My Hero movies actually you can have until the 4th to see it.
Oh.
So I think they have like one extra day, because I know there's today, tomorrow, and then on the 4th, I think is the last day you can catch it here. So if anyone is in Alberta and you're still trying to catch the MHA movie, Thursday's your last day, so I'd say book it online just to make sure you get the tickets and you don't show up there and it's all sold out. But I think that's about it.
Nice. And, I'll do like a quick, the My Hero Academia movie is good. Like, it's not necessarily reviewing, but it's still like, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And if you like, it doesn't have all of the students in it, but has the major ones. Hopefully it won't go away too disappointed, but it's still like, it's a fun ride for sure. And it kind of ties into season 4. Oh, I forgot to say, we got a season 4. I don't think I said that. Yay. I think like, that's kind of important. But,
Yeah.
But the thing is, we don't know when yet. I'll care when they say when.
Yeah, I think it's going to be at least, I think, best guess is about at least 6 months to kind of everyone gets settled down before we get into the excitement again, but shouldn't be too long of a wait, hopefully.
I'm thinking probably summer or fall of 2019.
Yeah, that probably sounds about right.
Probably. And now let's move on to the next segment, the anime.
This is My Hero Academia.
And it's going to be episode 63, Unrivaled. It's the finale of the 3rd season, and it adapts chapters 123 and 124 of the manga. And actually, 124, it ends like on the dot, so if you want to jump to the manga, you could actually just read like 125, and it's just like seamless, which is nice. See, it's the big 3, the ones closest to the pros, and it just makes me wonder, like, how is that measured, really? Like, and are they well known?
I'd assume they would be, like, if they're, like, UA is already, like, the most notable school in the country. So I feel like if they are, like, you know, the big 3 in the school, like, there's probably all these agencies outside, like, taking notice of them, trying to get them to, like, you know, join them eventually once they leave the school and then go pro, like, professionally.
Mm-hmm. But, like, the thing is that, like, Deku only recognized Miro as, like, the guy who, like, lost his pants, basically. Yeah. But I guess, like, when he doesn't know about his internship and that stuff, and that's when the pros might have noticed.
Yeah.
And Kaminari and Mineta both notice how pretty Neji is, but Mineta says something, like, super gross. It's like, target acquired. And it's like, what does that mean?
I don't know, like, the anime, is it just me, or is it, like, they increase the bust size of, like, all the girls in the anime? Because it seems like she wasn't as busty, like, in the manga and the anime, it's like, she went up a few sizes.
Yeah, just, like, why? And okay, I want to get my Mineta thing out of the way, is that, like, I think Mineta would be a fine character if he was allowed to be a character. Instead, he's just usually demoted to freaked out at boobs, and that's not a personality trait. This is like, he's worse than Sanji. Like, at least Sanji can do things sometimes. I know you just read a whole article about this, so I'm sorry to give you more flashback.
No, it's alright. No, like, I'm about to post, like, a huge thread about this tonight, so I'll get my Sanji rant out then, but, like, I know Horikoshi, like, mentioned, I think it was in an interview, like, I don't know how long ago, that Mineta is basically, like, his inner pervert brought to life in the manga. And I'm like, I don't know if that was something necessary to include, like, in the series.
Yeah. Cause like, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I'm just like, you know, when we see the hero exams, like, okay, Shinso couldn't get into, like, the, Class A Heroes exam, because, you know, he couldn't fight the giant robots with his powers. But Mineta was somehow able to make it in, like, by throwing great balls at the robots.
Yeah, like, he stuck them against walls and stuff.
Yeah, but it still, it just seems really weird.
I think so. Mineta would be fine, because he's a coward. He's like, he just wants to be, he wants to be a hero, to be popular. Fine, that's relatable. He's like, he was always the weird kid in school. But, okay, let me tell you this. All the guys out there, if you do not treat women as people, they will not like you. Guaranteed. If you are a weird guy who goes and like, oh my god, bazungas! Or not bazungas, whatever you call them. Anytime you see boobs, no girl will date you. Or maybe they will, that's a bit extreme, but just women are people, please. I'm on my knees.
My one snide Sanji remark, and I'll stop after this, I swear, unless you're a super pretty guy like Sanji, then you'll usually get away with it. One snide remark, I'm done.
Yeah, and anyways, that was my Mineta rant. Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah. Don't tweet at, don't at me. Okay, sorry. And then we have Deku realizing, I didn't recognize his face. He was naked at the sports festival, and the others didn't rank well as well. And all three of them kind of fail at introducing themselves. And poor Amajiki is so shy. And I'm looking being a pro hero, you have to have some charisma or a little bit, but he's just terrified. But also I relate to that a bit because talking in front of a thing is scary. But and his scary look, it made me think of Stain's bloodlust a little.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
I honestly relate to him the most because I'm exactly the same in front of any huge crowds.
Yeah.
And this reminded me of the time when my little brother was in I think it was grade 2 or 3. I had to go into his class once because he was doing a presentation, and all the kids in his class just looked at me, and the entire time they just kept staring at me because it seemed like I was intimidating them. So I'm just staring at the back of the class, and you can feel this nervous tension there, and I'm just alright, I need to make myself look as least intimidating as possible, and it did not work. Aww. So I totally feel him right now in this episode. I was just I relate so hard to that.
Yeah. Did you picture them with potato heads?
I tried, but they were scaring me. Honestly, every time they stared at me, I'm just alright, little kids already freak me out. Now they're staring at me, I'm even more freaked out.
Guys. Because potato heads are scary. I don't know. I like potatoes. I would get too hungry if I imagined people as potatoes.
Just start imagining it was potato fries and all different potato dishes and just start...
Mashed potatoes. I could do a speech to mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
And he just wants to go home. And I made a note, Amajiki is the black-haired one. And, and Hado, I keep switching between what I call her. She has blue hair, but I think, I thought it was, purplish or something, I don't know, I got confused about what her hair color was. And she asks a lot of questions, but she doesn't wait for answers, and she's just are you sick? Or, are you trying to look cool? Very rapid fire. And she asked Mineta about his ball hair, and that's the greatest day of Mineta's life.
Oh, yeah.
And she wants to know all about them. And Kaminari thinks she's an airhead, and Ashito goes as far to say she's a kindergartner, and Mineta pervs out a bit about his hairballs, and so I think Ciro's the one who's that's not what she meant. And Tokoyami just has the death glare, or he's just so ashamed of Mineta.
Yeah.
All of us.
And just love how Momo's giving that disgusting look behind him when he's just freaking out and doing whatever the hell he was doing in his chair.
And then she asks Gojira if his tail can support his weight. And that's actually a good question. Some of her questions, besides the blatantly obvious ones, she asked Mineta how he gets a haircut, and those are actual questions. She's curious about them.
Yeah. I mean, everyone calls her an airhead and things in the anime, but I feel it's more she has a bubbly personality, and we're supposed to get across as she might ask a lot of questions, but they are very, what's the word for it? They're very, she's very observant. She's asking very observant questions. She's not just asking dumb questions for the sake of asking dumb questions.
She's gathering information. I feel
yeah, exactly.
And people would tell her, unthinkingly, they would answer. She interrupts before they answer, but maybe, I don't, it's it's airheaded, but there's a point to it, maybe. And I wish we saw more of her, even in the manga. But no.
Yeah.
And Eraserhead gets mad at the lack of rationality, and Aoyama photobombs in the corner, and it is amazing. I think I shared that on Twitter, but it was amazing. And, Miro comes to save the day, because everyone else is kind of trashed their introductions, and he's the future's gonna be grim, and it's why would they answer grim? I would be plus ultra, I don't know.
That's what I was expecting him to say, and he just bursts out with grim. I'm alright, guess dash their hopes now.
And he's oh, that was very good, so fight me, and it's why?
Yeah.
And Amashiki tells him off. And he's not everyone is ambitious. The kids might not be able to recover. And Hado has already started playing with Ashito's horns, and Ashito's please leave me alone. Which is also like, she should after she says that, but whatever.
Yeah, when she was doing that, I was wondering, like, is Ashido actually, like, does it actually hurt her when her horns are played with, or is it, like, ticklish? Because it seemed like it was ticklish and she was trying not to laugh when she's, like, getting just the horns, like, poked up and down.
Like, what sensations does she have from that?
Yeah, exactly.
Hado mentions that a student got frustrated and quit being a hero, causing problems. And we'll talk about this more in the spoiler section, but remember that, because that might be important, or it might not. I honestly don't really know, because I'm not sure about a future character. I need to ask. And Tokiyami and Kirishima are like, don't underestimate us. And he asks who's first, goading them. I think that's him kind of trying to goad them to go one-on-one, because now they're at the gym. And Deku's like, I'll go! And he does a Bakugo pose, because remember, Bakugo is his, like, victory, like, idealized victory, so he's, like, still taking his moveset. And I just thought it was really cool. And I just love that they have, like, a close combat squad around him. His clothes fall off, and Jiro screams bloody murder. And Deku can and will kick a naked man.
Yeah.
But it goes through him. And Aoyama does not know this and tries to kill him. Because he full on shoots a laser through that.
Yeah.
That's murder. And same with Ashindo, she shoots acid. And Zero just like shoots like a single tape. It's like, what would that do to his head? Like, really? But the first step is to take out the long distance fighters. I keep wanting to call him by his hero name, but not Sasuke says his quirk is not something you should be jealous of. And then he punches the close-up school. Oh no, sorry, I think he went to the long-distance fighters and punched them in the stomach. And he was scouted and worked with a certain hero, and then Miro power poses. Or like JoJo poses. He's like, power! Yeah. And he's like, I still have my pants! Kaminari and Jiro, they're tied up together. Where did he get the rope? It's like, that was weird. And it's a good way to stop Kaminari from electrocuting people, because he would hurt Jiro if he did.
Yeah.
And Nero is closest to being number one, even for the pros. I feel like Endeavor might disagree with that. We'll see.
Yeah, well, at least he's got a lot more personality than Endeavor does.
It's more likable for sure. But things like that's again, like, how do you grade that? I don't know.
I feel like they probably send out like surveys or something. Like, if they like the news and like other entertainment organizations probably like do random surveys and be like, oh, we polled 1,000 people and these were the top 5 heroes in whatever rank. Because I remember Gang Orca was just like, top like 5 heroes that looked like villains, and he was like in the top ranking for that one. Yeah. So I feel like they do dumb polls like that just to find out, like, which heroes rank where with the public.
Yeah, so I guess people it's tempting to think of it as like power levels, but it's not really, even though it kind of is. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like, seems like a mix between like power and popularity. Kind of like with it's almost like the politicians we have like in the real world, where they're like, a lot of people seem to kind of vote for them based on, charisma rather than like sound policies and everything.
It's an interesting world out there right now, to say the least. Yeah. And we go to the break, and we have Kaminari and Jiro's both get their info cards. I remember Kaminari likes hamburgers, and Jiro likes something I forget. Maybe I'll edit that in if I remember. And he gets half of them out in an instant, and Todoroki's not participating because he didn't get his provisional license. And I wonder if Todoroki could even take him out. And
that would actually be like an interesting fight, because usually fights like defensively, like putting up the ice wall and things to block them, but Mirio would probably just be able to flow right through it. So,
and even if you froze him, he could just phase through. Yeah. Fire might be harder because you can like, I think Mirio still has to think about which one he's phasing, so you could fake him out and like literally burn him. Yeah. But even then, he could just go underground. Like, it's just like.
That's a fight I'd like to see. I hope we get something like that in the future, because I want to see how their quirks kind of go head to head, but it'd be interesting.
Yeah. I was going to say something with spoilers. Yeah, it would be interesting to see that. And he confuses them because they're like, why can he slip through and warp? And I just wrote down, his muscles are so cool. Like, it just has like bunch of like balls on him. He's like overly muscular.
Yeah, I actually tweeted about this yesterday. I'm like, I get that they're high schoolers and, a lot of them, like, probably have to do a lot of, like, physical activity to, like, maintain their quirks and everything. But all of them seem, like, ridiculously jacked for high schoolers. Like, they have, like, so many muscles.
And Miro's, like, 17 or something.
I think he's, like, 18 or above, but, like, even then, I'm just, like, looking at him like, okay, he's got muscles on his muscles. At this point, that just seems a little ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it's a bit extreme, but... And Abashiki is just, like, thinking against a wall. He's like, because they were, like, so impressed by his quirk, they're saying, like, he's unrivaled, but it just reveals that their power level is below 9,000. I make Dragon Ball jokes even though I've literally only read the first volume of Dragon Ball. So again, don't at me. It's just like how an ordinary person can't tell what makes a pro boxer good. He's like, oh, he's amazing, but there's actually like so many steps and like thinking behind what he does. It's the result of hard work. And Deku realizes he's either slipping to warp or warping to slip. We just need to figure out the trick. Deku kind of has the logic, if he can touch us, then we should be able to touch him. And Mirio does a scary face. He's like, he looks kind of villainous there, because like the shading of his muscles. I'm just like, okay, Miro, calm down with the scary Tintin. And Kirishima notices the same thing as Ochako, that after house arrest, Deku is trying a lot harder. And Miro kind of does like a challenge. He's like, then come and try to figure it out. And Deku realizes that he's going to come from behind, because he is literally using the same trick twice.
Yeah.
And attacking from the back, and also attacking the person who seems to have figured it out the most as well. Yeah. And he pops up posing, and he uses an ultimate move, so that's again, ultimate moves are very useful, and Deku kicks through his arm, and he tries to distract him by jabbing him in the eye so Deku blinks, but instead he spins in midair, which I'm not sure is actually possible, and punches Deku in the stomach.
Yeah, I was honestly thinking when he was doing the eye thing, I'm like, what if he actually did that to like a villain and he like solidified his hand inside their eye? I'm like, would it merge together or would he just like explode like whoever's head he did that to?
I think it would be the same thing as when he goes into the ground, it would just pop out. I think he might fly away from them maybe?
Because his arm would probably get repelled out and like he just rip out anything that comes with it maybe?
Maybe? I don't know if he can... I don't know. I don't think he could grab things.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever gonna get like that dark into seeing how quirks do stuff like that. But I can't help but like wonder when I see this, like how it would actually work.
Because when we go into detail about his quirk more later, and like in this episode, and it makes me want, and like even some of it, I'm like, if you're gonna go that detailed about that, then how does Invisible Girl make sense?
Yeah.
Well, when we get there, I'll do my little rant. Lots of ranting. And he talks about how he trained to go after the ones who counterattack. And he takes out Kirishima, who's not smart enough to harden his goddamn stomach. But maybe he did, and he's like stronger than his hardening. But like, seriously, he's punching everybody in the stomach. Harden your stomach. And I think he karate chops the girls' stomachs instead of punching them. I'm not sure though. And he then does the power pose again. And Nijiri is saying that he got stronger. And Black Hair, because I didn't want to write out his whole name, because I just think of his hero name, reveals that they knew each other since they were kids, and that he's always been strong, and he just needs to learn to hold back. And Miro tried to make it so they wouldn't see his dick. Which is very nice of him.
Yeah.
And he apologizes to the girls.
Well, he's already scarred some of them, so I think it's a little bit too late for that.
Yeah,
but
too late. And Deku's like, we got punched in the stomach. We didn't really learn anything there. And they all say, like, his quirk is unfairly strong, and they wonder if he's a hybrid like Todoroki is. And he says, no, I only have one quirk. And Deku was surprised, even though he figured it out earlier. But I wonder if he thinks it's a reference to All for One. Maybe? Is maybe why he blinked at it? Because he, like, seemed, like, shocked.
Maybe, yeah.
But I don't know. And Nejiri just, like, appears as if summoned, and she's like, I want to talk about Miro's quirk. And it's like, okay. And it's, sorry. And it's permeation. Warp was a form of that. And then she sulks because Miro's like, actually, no, I want to talk about it. And Deku is taking mental notes on his palm, which is so cute.
Yeah, that was adorable.
Yeah. And he says, like, if he activates his quirk on his whole body, then he can slip through anything, even the ground. So I was thinking, so, like, how far would he fall? Like,
I don't know, like,
yeah,
from the illustration, it seems like if he kept it activated, like, he just keeps sinking and sinking until he went, like, as far down as he could before he ran out of oxygen. So I'm assuming.
True. He is limited by that.
Yeah, so he probably can only go down as far as his oxygen, like, lets him before he have to, like, repel himself out from wherever he was.
And I wonder, like, the deeper you go, do you get flung higher up?
That's a good question. Like, we have to think about that. Would it be like an elastic band, like, the farther you zip it back, the more powerful you get, like, flung out? That's a good question.
Yeah. And when he releases the quirk, he gets repelled upwards, he can aim it, so he can, like, that's how he's able to go towards the back. And as Shido points out, it's like a buggy game. You can avoid all attacks and move where you like in an instant. And he's like, no, I made it a strong quirk. And then he talks about how he can't take in oxygen, his lung, and he talks about how he can't take oxygen into his lungs, and same with vibrations, he can't hear, see, or feel, or breathe, and it's like, and the one thing I don't get is he talks about the light goes through his retinas, so doesn't that mean that Hagagura also shouldn't be able to see?
I don't know, because I think her core comes down to, like, she's basically, like, refracting light around herself, so maybe she lets enough come through that she can see it through her eyelids, and she just, like, you know, refracts everything else, so she becomes invisible. But, like, I don't think he's really fully kind of explained how exactly her quirk works.
I'm just waiting for that. I want her Hagagura the Origins, or Toru the Origins.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want a reveal of her powers. It's just like, I'm the traitor, and this is how I'm actually even doing it. I'm just like, whatever. Even though, like,
Yeah, it seems like the most obvious one. At the same time, it's like, okay, that would be, like, the best thing and also the worst thing, because it seems like she's the most obvious choice for the traitor, but right now, I'm kind of just waiting to see if we learn more about her before we get any kind of reveal on that.
Yeah.
And I just want to drop in a quick thing, noting that I was thinking about this yesterday and watching with, like, Mirio's line about, you know, my quirk wasn't strong, I made it strong. Reminds me of a Crocodile from One Piece where he said the same thing about devil fruits, where he's like, you know, devil fruit users, some of them are just content with having their powers and they never bother trying to master it. And he's like, you know, even the weakest of the powers can be powerful if someone took the time to, like, understand how it works. So I kind of like to see more of that, you know, someone with, like, a seemingly useless quirk actually being really strong because they managed to, like, train it or figure out a way to use it that no one else thought of.
Yeah. That's cool. I definitely want to see that as well. Oh, he's falling naked in sparkles. And I was like, why are there sparkles? And he has to think about every step when he goes through a wall. It's like a 3-step process, that's something, and it wouldn't be easy to do if you're in a rush. And he ended up falling dead to dead last just because he couldn't figure it out, and, like, it was so complicated. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Because he reached the top with his quirk because he couldn't stay behind. And his scars on him, and also, like, his kind of thinking makes me think of Deku, about how I have to go further than everybody else. I have to, like, put in so much more work. He talks about predictions. He has to think faster than those around him. And I love that he isn't just a dumb jock. He's actually really smart.
Yeah.
Which is, like, my favorite. And he's also gotta be tricky. Hence the weird face popping, which I guess is tricky, is close to pranking, so whatever.
When he's talking about, like, how, you know, has to go through that mental process of thinking about how his quirk works, I'm just thinking, like, how many thousands of times must he have practiced, like, phasing through things to get to the point where he basically just operates on instinct and he's able to do this without having to go through the entire thought process. And I'm like, that's actually, like, really damn impressive.
Yeah. And the thing is that, like, it's not like he can't breathe if he, like, faces his hand. He can still breathe. It's just, like, I guess that part kind of confused me because it made it sound like it was always, but just, like, when he goes down. I lost where we were. And he decided to show them through experience rather than words his power level because during the not internship, but work experience, you're treated as sidekicks and fellow pros. Oh, fellow pros, not sidekick. Or, I don't know. I wrote down both, so I'm not sure which one it is.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like he's saying it's a combination of both. Like, you're more sidekick, fellow pro. I think it depends on your skill level. Like, they might treat you more like a sidekick depending on how powerful you are, a fellow pro if you can prove yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So probably be rank up through whatever training you go through until you stand side by side with the others.
Yeah, and also that it's going to be a scary experience that you may watch people die, and there's stuff that you can't get at school. Hopefully you'll, like, the thing is that you might get there too late to save somebody because you weren't there in time. And you change that experience into power, and then you take the top spot, and everyone's clapping, they're very impressed, Deku's inspired, and Momo throws some shade saying, I can't believe he put us through this, when he could have explained it in a few minutes. But I think he's actually being like, oh, it's so nice that he, like, actually gave us that experience. But also it's like, Miro, no. And Jiro and Kaminari are both like, oh yeah, we really were just treated as, like, we were put in danger. Yeah. And I want to know where Kaminari interned at. It was probably a power plant or something. And
didn't we find out? I thought Kaminari. I thought I was thinking of Kirishima for a second. Yeah, we don't know where Kaminari interned.
Yeah, I'm curious to know. I lost where we were. Oh, they came to UA because they wanted to be pros, and Aoyama poses as like, c'est la vie. And Tokoyami says, all we can do is go up. Foreshadowing. And Koda says, plus ultra! I just love anytime Koda talks, because I love him. Yeah. And Todoroki is worried he'll get left behind. I had to, like, take a moment where I was like, wait, don't have two T names. Like, T-O, Todoroki, Tokoyami. I'm a simple person. I'm bad with names. And I just wrote here, Miro walks like a nerd. Because he does, like, the whole arm swinging all the way up.
Yeah, he's got such an odd walk. Like, I was just mesmerized by watching the anime, and I'm like, oh, alright, I need to see this.
And the other students were grateful that Miro did all the work. They didn't have to do much. And also kind of I think I might have said it earlier, but he's very like Deku, a quirk that could harm you or hinder you, and you make it your own anyways. Which is kind of cool. Yeah. And not just someone who's strong at the top, someone who worked it hard to make it there. And Hoda's kind of teasing him, being like, oh, you could have seriously hurt somebody. And he's just like, I was so close to them seeing my willy. And he said that Deku was interesting because he figured out he'd attack from the back. And he said that someone Sir would like. Season 4 hype.
Yeah.
And Bakugo is screaming for trash. And Mineta has way too much trash. The bag is enough.
Oh my god. Like, what is he hiding in that bag? Like, the trash bag is almost the same size as he is. And that just, like, is kind of disgusting. And I just don't want to know, like, what he does in his creepy little room.
Well, he can just jump in the bag. And then we can throw him out. That's why I said on Twitter, it's the size of him. Because I was saying, put him in the trash bag. And then we can get Shiro instead. We can put holes in the trash bag. He can live. He just doesn't have to be a UA.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm just kind of confused, because didn't Deku just do the trash yesterday? So why did I still have... Maybe he did the girls' trash, and now this is the guy trash?
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't get that much trash in one day. I need to do my garbage right now. I'm looking at it. It's garbage day. Or actually, I don't know if it's garbage or recycling. I need to check. Wherever you are in the world, check to see if it's garbage day. That's the lesson of this podcast. Sorry. Anyways, this is me fillering until I find where I was. And the girls are having a talk session, and Momo has her hair down. It's very pretty. And she says, oh, I guess we just have to wait for Aizawa to give us the go-ahead, because they're still having a faculty meeting to decide if the first years will even get to do work experience. And also how to handle the media. Interesting. And Deku still, and also just because the villains will probably attack them, because that's what tends to happen. And Deku still has an arm brace, which I think is like a good detail, and I want all of his All Might merch, because I don't think we have, there's an All Might pop figurine, we don't have an actual like All Might figurine.
No, I don't think so. I think if they actually put out like a really good figurine, even if it's like $100 or so, I might just splurge and get it, because I would love to have an All Might figurine.
I have one of the pop figurines, and I like broke, because his hair bang thingies, one of them fell off, but I like hot glued it back on. So, All Might is still alive. But we'll see. He's in a bad place. He's in a bad place, because he can fall over pretty easily. I'm sorry, All Might, I failed you. And he calls Gran Torino, who tries to do like the old man act again, being like, oh, who are you again? And he has a phone that says Shiwa Shiwa, which I feel like is a pun, because that means Shiwa Shiwa means wrinkle. So maybe it's just like a joke on him being old?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's
I love Gran Torino so much. She's one of my favorite characters.
It just makes, is he supposed to be named after like the movie Gran Torino?
Oh man, maybe it might be because of like the Clint Eastwood thing, because this is the thing, like when the flashbacks, when we see him, he seems like the size of a regular person. I know this is probably just like a gag they do in like manga in general, but he shrunk to like midget size in like a few years, and I'm like, what the hell happened to him? It's like they chopped out half his bones and like stuck him back together as half a person.
It was a bone stealing court. Yeah. I just like, whenever you reach old age, they'll like,
yeah,
old age
just collapse.
I guess it's just like a joke in Japan that old people are short.
Yeah. Okay.
And Deku kind of awkwardly asks, are you taking anybody for the work study? Could it be me, please? Like, no, I'm taking Todoroki. Like, that was sad. And Gran Torino's upset that he just ignored him, his awesome joke. And he's like, oh, do you think you're a big shot now? And I'm working on something else. I can't take you. You're a useless I can't talk. You're a useless successor who didn't get any other offers. And you made the power your own, and this is, Deku flashbacking to the Bakugo fight, being like, I made the power my own, but still not good enough. So he still needs to go beyond, plus ultra. And he tries to kind of sound cool. He's like, oh, I still want to do everything to become number one, because I'm a useless successor. Useless successor is hard to say. Okay, he still wants to do everything to become number one because he's a useless successor. And he needs to stop trying to sound cool. And Gran Torino says, All Might has connections, you should ask him, he's committed to teaching you. And I feel like that's nepotism.
Yeah, that seems like it is, a little bit.
But, like, yeah, or like cheating.
Deku's just calling up a hero organization, like, hey, this is All Might's little successor, I was just wondering if I could, just intern here, just saying All Might's successor.
Yeah, just throw that around. But he actually can't let people know that, so it's this weird thing that I guess All Might can't push him too much, because it would be like, why are you pushing just this student?
Yeah, exactly.
And he mentions that, why don't you work study with All Might's sidekick? And Deku's like, what? Because till now, we didn't know that, so more and more is being revealed. And then we meet Bubble Girl, who's created from a Design Your Own Hero competition. She has under boob, she's blue, and she has a zipper to reveal her boobs for no reason.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not saying Hori just, picked that design because of how she looks, but I'm saying he picked that design because of how she looks.
Yeah, it's just it's so...
I mean, it's not the thing of okay, it's I don't like characters being sexy or anything, but hers just looks really, really awkward.
Yeah,
there's no reason for her to be dressed the way she is. Even if her powers is it's like Midnight's or Momo's where her powers have to come through her skin. I'm okay, you could still design a costume that doesn't look that awkward.
Yeah, just have all of her arms free. There. Why? I don't, It just annoys me. The zipper is what really pisses me off. Because I'm in what circumstance am I gonna go big bubble? Whatever. I'm just no. I'm just tired. And she says, she calls Sir dull, and that there's news, and Sir is so long and skinny and gangly, and I think it's a bit later, but I honestly thought in the manga, I didn't realize he had blonde hair, he had black hair with blonde streaks. I thought that was just the shine of his hair all the time.
Yeah.
but apparently he has blonde streaks and blonde eyebrows, which is weird. Like, with black hair, but...
I'm just trying to imagine that in my head right now. It just looks really, really weird.
Yeah. And he says, report energetically in one breath. And I would not be able to do that. I would just be, like, stumbling over my words the entire time. And we learn that Overhaul is on the move, and he's meeting with Shigaraki and Dabi at a temporary base, not the real one. At least they're kind of competent. Overhaul is worried that he'll get sick, and I do kind of like his voice. I know some people have been talking about his, like, character design, but I think they'll probably change it a bit for season 4 and make him, like, a lot more intimidating. Right now, it's just kind of like, he's like, I haven't really done anything yet besides doing scary stuff with, like, cars, but we'll see. And I love Dabi's response. Don't worry, the guys inside have been sick for a while. Great line. And the one thing that annoys me is they're like, oh, the Shy Sakai are on the move, and it's like, why are you using the Japanese name?
Yeah.
I forget, did they do that in the manga too?
I'd have to go back and look at the chapter, I'm not sure.
I should have checked, because I think about it being like the 8 precipits or something. Basically, it's like the 8 sins or something.
Yeah, the 8 precepts or something was like their official translated name, I think.
Yeah, just call it that, because I cannot type Shihasakai. I'm sorry, I am just bad at spelling and names, and I'm sorry for being weird about Japanese, but I'll get better about it, but that's hard to spell. And his hair looks weird. Sorry, going through my notes. And, okay, we see Shigaraki, and every time we see him, I'm just reminded that his hands have nothing to do with his goddamn quirk. Why do you have those hands?
I've always wondered, like, is that just, like, all the people he's killed and he's, like, preserved their hands and he's, like, stuck it onto his face? Or is it just some random thing he's just, like, decided, no, this is gonna be my thing.
He just likes
just
to have
hands everywhere.
I don't know. It's like, why? And he's like, oh, you brought a big fish, huh? And one step closer. That's not what Shigaraki sounds like. You brought a I don't know what. He has a scary voice. Just imagine that in a scary voice. And this is kind of Deku thinking himself. One step closer to becoming heroes means the villains are one step closer as well. And the one entrusted to be the successor and the one entrusted to be and released into the wild will meet in the not so distant future. Dun, 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 dun. And okay, I'll talk about that in the spoiler thing, because that's not really true. And season 4 confirmed. Yay! Okay, and now for the spoiler section. Spoilers. If you do not wish to be spoiled and you're anime only, please stop the podcast now. Do you have anything spoilers that you want to talk about?
Not much. I forgot that Mirio totally loses his quirk during the overall arc. I'm just like, oh man, we won't get to see him fight anyone else anymore. It's gonna make me sad now.
And like seeing Sir made me sad too. Okay, I wonder, when she said that there was a student who quit, was that Gentle?
Oh, maybe. Like, I don't know. How long ago did Gentle go to the school? Because he seems like I don't know what his exact age is. I thought he was like in his 40s or something, so it seems like he's not that old?
I think he was 26 or something.
Oh, wow. He didn't look like he was 26. Yeah, I don't know. It depends. Like, I wonder if that's something that would have like hung around the school and like just everyone knew that, about him, but...
Oh, he's 32. He's 32. Yeah. And the thing is, we don't know if he went to UA. We just know he got kicked out of his high school.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's him, or I feel like it's gonna come up later.
Yeah.
But I'm not
This was actually something I was wondering, like, watching through this episode, like, because in the Deku versus Bakugo fight, I know some people on Twitter were getting mad at me for saying that, like, Deku shouldn't have really kind of engaged Bakugo in kind of fighting because it's such an unhealthy way for him to kind of take out his anger and like rage at what happened with All Might. Mm-hmm. And I totally get that right now that's the only way Bakugo kind of knows how to deal with like his emotional issues, is just kind of like punch it out and just have explosive outbursts. But this makes me wonder, like, is Horikoshi actually going to address kind of like the state of like mental health and how being a hero kind of affects them? Because, what's his face? Mirio and the others are talking about it, this arc that being a hero isn't easy. You're going to see, like, a lot of disturbing stuff. You'll see people dying in front of you. There'll be people you can't save. And I feel like that's got to be, like, the first responders in the real world. Mm-hmm. And how they suffer through, like, PTSD and things. So is that going to be something that we see Horikoshi actually addressing? Is, like, how do heroes deal with stuff like that? Because I feel like that would be an interesting kind of concept to explore. How do you deal with, like, the emotional issues of being a hero? Because he's kind of covered the other sides of, like, all the, like, how do you become a hero? What does it take to be number one? Sponsorships and all that. So I kind of like to see, like, the other side of it if we ever get into that.
Yeah, because Horikoshi seems very, like, touch and go. Like, sometimes he's really good with mental health stuff.
Yeah.
But then other times he's kind of like, what is this? But to be fair, like, the Bakugo fight, Deku could not have had a conversation with him then.
Yeah.
Like, he just couldn't.
Yeah.
Bakugo's not in the right spot for it. And, like, I think, like, Bakugo, I feel like he's slowly getting better, and I guess I just get annoyed that it's taking so long, but it's only been a year in universe. But still, like, take Haikyuu. Tsukishima was introduced as being, like, a guy who's, like, gets on everybody's nerves. He's kind of, like, I don't want to say a shitty person, but he wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But, like, that, you can have a person be an asshole and not have them, their first introduction, having them tell the main character to kill themselves.
Yeah. I don't know if, like, Hori thought he went, like, too far with his initial introduction. I was like, okay, this kid went, like, too far to the extreme and I need to dial it back. But, like, honestly, like, I have a lot of problems with just the Deku-Bakugo relationship because of personal stuff. And I know a good friend of ours, Simply Scarlet on Twitter, has, like, the same kind of issues with how the relationship plays out. So on the one hand, I'm like, I understand why he's going this direction with the story, and, like, that's the way he set it out, and everything that they do, like, works within, like, all the situations he puts them in. But it's just reading it, I'm like, I don't really care for this kind of stuff, so whenever I see it, it kind of, there's a lot of conflicted feelings for me, so I guess it's something I just kind of have to, kind of just get used to as the series goes on.
I kind of believe that, like, Horikoshi, like, I can kind of see the, like, through line of Bakugo's character. Like,
yeah.
I don't think you're supposed to think Bakugo's right.
Yeah.
So I think, like, that's good. So I guess, like, I kind of do have faith. I know, like, it sucks to hear, like, oh, you gotta wait and see what happens. But that's really, like, Bakugo is, like, a long game character development.
Yeah.
And but also, like, he didn't have to start so bad. So along the way, there's been some bumps, but that's just, like, it's not interesting if you just, like, all of a sudden wakes up and is like, oh, I'm a nice person now. That's not good storytelling.
Yeah.
But then it's still, like, it's just aggravating, and also, like, I completely understand it. But we do need to move on to the manga segment, because we got half an hour before I gotta go.
Alright, sounds good.
Sorry.
This is My Hero Academia.
And this is the manga segment. We're going to talk about I almost said chapter number 2. Chapter 200. And I just love, like, Deku's doing the 2 pose. Yeah. And Bakugo's just doing, like, a snarl. It's like, okay. And it's called Clever Commander. I like that he didn't do another, like, oh, we've reached the 200s now. Because chapter 100, I think, no, chapter 99 was leaving this, I forget, he, like, referenced it. Yeah. And Mom was like, oh no! Oh, the mushrooms are going on her. And I guess, I said we would get an ass shot. And we do get, like, a weird peanut-shaped silhouette for, Toru. Which doesn't look like how, when she's wearing clothes.
Yeah, it doesn't look the same as she does now.
Yeah. And she says, they're totally revealing my curves. How embarrassing. And it's like, what is, like, she looks like a snowman. Like, the outline, we get there. I'm like, what is she actually? It's weird. And, Tokuyami saying, these fungi are spreading across the entire area. And Koru has vanished from sight, and there's mushrooms! It makes me want mushrooms. Stuffed mushrooms are really good. And we're listing off the names: Blackwood Cauliflower Shroom. Cauliflower's gross. Yellow Night Shroom. Enioki Shroom. Inky Cap Shroom. And we meet Kinko Komori, I forgot her name, and her quirk is Mushroom. Oh, and she's like, has like a gas gun. And she's saying, grow, grow, cover the earth with me! Make it shroom-tastic. It's like, what? And the spores shoot from her body and instantly grow into fields of mushrooms. They spread and grow faster in humid conditions. And her hero name is Shemage? Sneemage?
She-Mage, I think it is.
Oh, She-Mage.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I don't like her. I wonder, does she need the gun? Does the gun just help shoot the spores better?
No, it might be that. It might also be maybe it's for the humidifier. Like she might spray out like moisture to help the mushrooms grow better.
You're right. She has 2 humidifiers in her hand. I didn't realize. That's amazing. Miranda's like, even sprout out of people's bodies? How freaky. Welding guy says her mushrooms all vanish after 2 or 3 hours, so she's not that scary. It's why she goes for the buckshot approach, so going like a whole bunch of stuff at once.
Yeah.
And we see an evil black mushroom. Oh, and I forgot to say she's Toadette from Super Mario. So Bowsette, watch out, we have She-Mage here instead. The evil mushroom laughs. Plan A involves you, and then this is Kendo talking. Plan A involves you hijacking Dark Shadow for a sneak attack. And we reminded again his name is Vanta Black. As she says, they will definitely send Dark Shadow to hunt us down on their first move. It's a strong, low-key risk. They don't know that Dark Shadow can be manipulated, so hurry up and capture somebody. And I just love that the sound effect is blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, please listen to her. And Kurohiro complains, you make it sound simple. What if I fail? What kind of risk am I taking? And I love the up-close shot of her, where she's like, once they come face-to-face with you, they'll use light attacks. That light will tell us three exactly where you're at. And Dark Shadow won't be much of an asset if the area's all lit up. Smart, smart, smart. And even if you can't pull it off, Kurohiro, we'll be ready to close in. I'm counting on you, Kinko and Fukidashi. Here goes plan B. Kinoki?
Kinoko, I think it's Kinoko.
Oh, Kinoko.
I think Kinko's a completely different kind of quirk.
Yes, let's go to Kinko's. That's her real quirk. And that makes me wonder, Fukudashi, is that the manga guy?
I think that must be. I can't remember who else is on her team.
Yeah, because I think...
Oh, no, it is. Yeah, I looked at the next page. It is the manga guy.
He is supposed to do it. And they say, and Momo's thinking, a 2-tiered operation? I should have known. And it just keeps popping up. She's like trying to hide from the mushrooms. And she says, remain calm, everyone. We need to regroup. And we hear, bam, kazlam, wham bam, and letters come flying out.
And then we hear a wah, and then you see Hagakure just like something's flying in front of her. It's like, look, what is all that? And then you see a bunch of letters just blocking out, in the middle of this little industrial area they're in. And it's like Manga Fukudashi Quirk Comic. And he's got a literal comic page for his head. It says, I'm on top of my game, and his hero name is apparently Comic Man. He's like, I thought it was Bam, more like Kerboosh, made my heart go badum. And he brings onomatopoeia to life.
It makes me think of, have you watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventures?
I have not. I think I read the manga years ago, but I haven't seen the anime. But I've seen enough screen caps from people I know on Twitter to kind of get the gist of it. But
because have you read Part 4 at all then?
No, I haven't.
Okay, spoilers for Part 4 JoJo's. There's a character named Koichi who can do the same thing with sound effects, but it's more he can say heat and then sizzle and then it's will burn hot.
Oh,
which is kind of cool. But
yeah, that's kind of cool. Alright, so then we have Iowa be like, even my laser cannot put a dent in these things, and he has beam. And then the Japanese effects are Jime Jime, which is humid. It's like, It's like, why does it say Jime Jime? And it's like, it's a humidifier. The shrooms are growing out of control. You see pop, pop, pop as more mushrooms just start popping up everywhere. It's like Hagakure is like, oh, how creepy. Our long-range attack boys are in an end, or in a bind, huh? And how are they going to deal with these sound effects overseas? Just breaking the fourth wall here. It's like, who cares? Look, that wall cut off Yayorozu from the group. We've isolated the brains of the operation.
And I just feel like Caleb, and also I don't know who the letterer is for My Hero Academia, but they're probably like, thank you for considering us, but also, what the hell? I wonder if, like, in the volume, if they might make it, like, big English letters.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
And then it's just like, now to take her down by force, and you see Kendo just jumping down from above Momo, and she screams out, shield! He brings out a giant metal shield. He's like, ugh, she crushed my tungsten shield so easily. And then you have Itsuka Kendo, quirk, big fist. Her hands can grow huge, and her strength grows just as much. And it's like, hand to hand is my field of expertise, you know. I might actually win. It's like, I'm not gonna give you time to think. Nuh-uh. And then she just comes in with her fist and goes wham, wham, wham.
Okay, and they mentioned tungsten here, and I find it kind of funny because it was mentioned in the filler episode when someone's using tungsten, but we haven't seen her use it before. But do you read have you read Dr. Stone?
I do. I have to catch up on the manga. I'm a little bit behind, but I have caught up to, I think, like, about at least 10 chapters behind, I think, right now.
Okay, because tungsten has come up in the manga, I think, or at chapter.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just looking it up right now, because I think I know where she's going with why she made it, but I'll just wait till the end before I bring that out.
Yeah, and, like, it's just funny crossover between My Hero Academia and Dr. Stone, because Caleb translates both. Oh, you can follow Caleb on Twitter at CDCubed, and he's a translator for My Hero Academia. He's amazing. He does kind of analysis, and he analyzes each chapter, and he did. I haven't actually read the one this week. Usually I read it, but I haven't read it this time. I'm sure he'll probably reference, like, my two mangas are converging. And now the end, and there's still, like, she's still putting up, she keeps making new tungsten shields, and I wonder, like, if it's something like that, is it more complex to think about? Like, does it take more fat to make it?
That's a good question. I have to wonder, like, because we don't know if there's, like a ratio for how much fat she needs to use to, like, make something. Like, is it the same amount to create anything, or she has to use more fat to make, like, more complex stuff? Like, that's something I'd like to find out.
Yeah, and we get someone saying, oh, she worked the situation to her advantage and no time flat. Oh, this is Tetsu talking. Also, last week, Sophie edited out some of my Tetsus. I'm not editing this week, so I can keep in the Tetsu. And then Todoroki says, not necessarily the best tactic. And Tetsu says, huh? And Todoroki goes, she isolated Yaoyorozu because she's wary of her. She might have misread things. And he's like, huh? Again. And he's just slamming away at the shields. And she's like, Kendo, we get a little flashback to her saying, oh, it's Todoroki saying, your quirk and grades are way... Sorry, this is Kendo talking.
Yeah, this is Kendo, yeah.
I thought it was flashbacking way back to when they fought Eraserhead. But Kendo's saying, your quirk and grades are way better than mine, but they still lump us together. Honestly, I don't like it. He says again, you're wrong, Kendo. I'm still no more than a fool, an utter novice. And they'll give we get a close-up shot of her eyes, kind of how we got a close-up shot of Kendo earlier.
Yeah.
And saying, so, when you speak as if I am somehow superior, I can't afford to disgrace myself. Momo, pull it together and show her everything you've learned. And Todoroki saying, if they knew the threat Yaoyorozu possessed, all four of them would have teamed up and crushed her right off the bat. Because rising to the challenge is Momo Yaoyorozu's field of experience. I wonder, what is she going to make? A gun! A nuclear bomb! Like, what if she just made the nuke and you're just like, what? What now? Try me! Or if she made, like, a fake nuke and just, like, try to convince people it was real? Like, what do you think she's gonna make?
Honestly, I think it has to do with the tungsten. I'm trying to like do research on it right now because I thought tungsten was like highly volatile and reactive if you like mix it with a certain element. I'm not sure which one it is, but I wonder if she's gonna try to create like a huge firestorm with the tungsten shields that she's been producing right now.
And I think so. Tungsten has like a high melting point,
Yeah.
but actually that's like she's not trying to melt it. Like I can understand if she was fighting Todoroki,
Yeah.
but okay, tungsten is brittle. It breaks easily.
Yeah, I don't know, like if
That's
she is
not
gonna
a good
create,
shield.
unless she's gonna try to, like, if she's gonna create some kind of flame to, like, blast away all the mushrooms, then maybe she's gonna use the tungsten as a shield to, like, shield herself from the flames because it has such a high boiling point.
And tungsten it's the heaviest element. Okay, maybe, I think only part of tungsten. I'm gonna say, how strong is tungsten? I feel like if Caleb actually listens to us, I feel like he's screaming at me right now. I don't know. Okay, is tungsten, both titanium and tungsten are harder than precious metals such as gold and platinum. Okay, tungsten carbide, so that's different than tungsten, is one of the hardest materials in existence, and it's harder than titanium. So, okay, I guess it's not brittle, that's just like a separate part, because I think there's like difference between tungsten and tungsten carbide, which is something that you like combine together.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about tungsten. Go read Dr. Stone instead.
Yeah, we need someone with, like, a science background on here to explain all of this to us.
If only we could find someone who had that. That's not referencing anything at all. Any other thoughts on the chapter?
No, I'm glad that we're finally getting some Momo focus again. Like, it's been a while since, like, any of the girls in Class 1A have kind of had their chance to shine, so I'm kind of looking forward to, you know, getting to see what Momo pulls out this time. So, yeah, that's about it. I'm looking forward to next week's chapter.
Yeah, I guess I really loved, like, seeing the two girls, go at it, and also kind of, like, they're both kind of, like, trying to outthink each other, and we don't yet know what Momo's plan is.
Yeah.
But also, her solution might be handcuffs.
Oh, maybe try to, like, tie up Kendo's fists.
Yeah, so he might capture Kendo, and then the team has to figure out how to fight without her.
Yeah.
But I don't know how. And I wonder, can Kendo only make her hands big? Cause like, or maybe cause she'll like, I don't know, probably.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've only seen her make her hands big before. I don't think she can actually grow, like, giant size.
Mm-hmm. Cause that's what I was thinking, like, if she could make her, like, legs big and she could, like, kick her or something.
Yeah.
Cause I feel like she could probably break out of most cuffs. But, like, I don't want it to be something where she's like, oh, and I made, like, some weird, like, chemical, and then I just knocked you out. I want it to be something where it, like, maybe it does involve tungsten, or it's like, I'm just gonna trap your legs, and then you can't do anything, because you rely on your hands too much. But
I do wonder if, like, Kendo has a limit on how big her hands can grow. Like, can she just keep expanding it, like, infinitely, or is there a certain size after which she's like, you know, my body can't support this much weight on my hand anymore?
I think she's gone bigger than what she's done right now.
Yeah,
she's gone big enough to, like, grab people before, I think. Or I think, actually, no, like, she grabbed Mustard in the training arc or whatever. And he's a kid, though, so who knows. But, yeah, I'm definitely interested in what's going to happen next week. I think, like, this one has done a bit better. Like, the other fight, it took a little bit for it actually to get interesting, and, like, the last chapter was the best part.
Yeah, and this one's kind of just getting straight into it.
It's getting straight into it. And, like, I love that we actually know what Manga's quirk is now. I don't quite get, like, why maybe he covers up his speech bubble face so that way, like, you can't tell what letters he'll do out.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe. No, I was gonna say, is that his actual face, though? Because it seems like because I'm looking at that panel, and he's going burp, and you can see, like, the burp coming out from the front of wherever he's wearing. I'm like, is that his actual face? Like, he's just got a comic for a face.
I think usually he just has a speech bubble for a face.
Oh,
maybe, like, I think that's his mask or something.
Oh, yeah, that probably makes sense.
I don't know how you say manga page, but he's managing it.
Yeah.
But overall, I think how would you rank this chapter overall?
Oh, I'd say probably like 3.5 out of 5. I mean, it was like a good chapter, but it felt also a little bit short. Like we didn't get like too much plot progression apart from, the mushrooms are going anywhere, and we've got the start of the Kendo and Momo fight. So I'm hoping like next chapter feels a little bit more meaty.
Mm-hmm. I think I would give it a 4. I think people were saying that in the chapter notes that Horikoshi said something about it being shorter than normal.
Okay.
My page is so sorry. I'll work hard to increase the pace. And it's like, okay, it's okay, Horikoshi.
Yeah,
but like overall,
fine.
I think like I would give it a 4 just because I love the girls getting a chance to really shine. But also just thinking like the Mushroom Girl's quirk isn't really hurting them. It's just kind of like confusing them. And it makes me think of Hiro though. It's like, well, what could she do that could make that? She could, like, grow mushroom... If she could control where the mushrooms grew, like, on your eyes or something...
Yeah.
That could be kind of cool.
Yeah, either that or maybe she can make, like, harmful mushrooms, like a poisonous mushroom that maybe, like, sprays spores or something. Like a hallucinogenic mushroom that, like, creates illusions or stuff. I feel like there has to be more to it than she can just, like, create a carpet of mushrooms and that's all they do.
And I guess, like, if she's hungry or you need a snack, she could do that.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I wonder, like, if Sun Ear was to eat her mushroom, would he, like, would he be able to kind of, like, because before he ate the crystal guy, he, like, kind of picked up the crystal parts. Yeah. So I wonder, like, if he could pick up the mushrooms, too. But I think he would just have mushrooms on him. It wouldn't be, like, he could produce them or anything. Yeah. I forget I need to reread the overall stuff. Yeah. Because, like, I think a lot of this stuff I've only read it once. Yeah,
so
I was
here.
like, and I didn't have the podcast to kind of think over everything. So now I'm like, wait, what actually happened? So it'll be interesting. And now I guess we'll kind of transition into the end segment.
This is My Hero Academia.
This has been the My Hero Academia podcast, not the other podcast, not the Macadamia podcast, that's the After Dark podcast. And, since the anime's over, we'll might do something next week. I know I probably won't be on next week, so it might just be Sophie and Ash, if Ash is free.
Yeah, I should be, I think, yeah.
Right, but we might we'll probably go back to we would talk about the older anime episodes. Like, I think right now we might be on episode 4 is like where we might be now. I think before we did 1 and 2, and then we did 3, and now I think it's 4.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is nice. But double check that. We'll probably tweet about it, or hopefully Sophie will. Because I will be on Thanksgiving vacation. And you can follow the podcast on Twitter at MHA Pod, and you can follow us on Tumblr at My Hero Academia Podcast. I think we also have a Pinterest as well for MHA Pod, so check that out. We also have a website which is really cool, mhapod.com. Check it out. We have some of the doodles. Oh, I need to think of what the doodles should be this week. I can't think of anything. And you can follow me on Twitter at Sniper of My Heart. And where can we find you, Ash?
You can find me on Twitter at King Cocoa Butter.
And that's all, folks. Don't forget to go beyond plus Ultra!
This is My Hero Academia Plus Ultra. Manga, anime, news and more. Plus